I'm Andy Christian, your host and director for the evening. Welcome to Confessional. We are the Reservoir Frogs, and tonight we weave the story of three people with high ambitions and low morals. Using your suggestions, we will improvise their journey through greed, violence, and stupidity. In the live chat, our audience wrangler has asked y'all for a few suggestions to start us off. Those suggestions will give our actors an idea for their characters. Those characters will then introduce themselves, and on we go. During the show, if there is a question you want to ask one of the characters, please write it in the chat, and if you're lucky, that character might answer your question. Here are tonight's suggestions. Our object is a vase. Our location is a museum, and our relationship is a happy couple. All right, you freaks and creeps, this is Confessional.
I'm Griff. I'm an auto mechanic here in Dawnsville. Yeah, I've got a bit of a reputation as a hard ass. Hard earned, hard drinking, hard fighting. But the truth is, I really like pottery. I'm damn good at it too.
Hello, I am Moya Anderson. I am the curator for this local podunk museum. I will work my way up to the Smithsonian. Well, initially I thought I'd be there by now, but anyway, I'll be there in the next 5 years. Meanwhile, I just have so much to do at this museum.
I'm Audrey Rumsfield, and I live in this small town. I was actually born here, and I grew up here, and I met my darling beau here, and we raised 3 children here. And my Henry, he died very recently, last year, and I have his ashes, and you know, we never, you know, our son is a very good potter, and he made this vase, and I put Henry in it, and I think it belongs in the museum, and I dream of getting this vase into the local museum.
Griff. Local hard ass. But don't tell any of the guys that I do the pottery, because, man, they'd make fun of me so hard.
Moya Anderson, curator at the small town museum. Yes, this is my hometown too, but I will get out of here soon.
Audrey Rumsfield, local citizen, born and raised, loving family and husband whom I would like to commemorate as a feature in the local art museum.
No, I think you get me all wrong. I was super flattered that Mom wanted to put Dad's ashes in one of my urns. I mean, your father's eternal resting place in your artwork. I mean, God, what a rush. I mean, I wish I could have been there, but obviously I couldn't be seen crying at a funeral. So, I mean, but man, I worked on that urn for months. He loved it. He knew he was going in there.
I have managed to find some gems in the rough at the local art fairs. I'm a little annoyed that we had to go anonymous for this upcoming fair because people think there's bias. You know, just because I know everybody here and I handpick the judges and I handpick who can participate, they think since that's going to influence me. So I have to accept it. We're doing it that way, but I don't like it.
Griff. Oh, you mean Jeffrey. He's my eldest. I'm so proud of Jeffrey. He's such a sweet boy. And he does have a lot of burly male friends. But they're all very nice to me. They're very polite, and I make them cookies very often, and sometimes they will park their bikes in my garage. But they're very careful not to park on the street because they know how my neighbors feel about that. And you know, they do sometimes like to light barrels on fire in the backyard, but they're usually very good at putting them out, and they're just all a nice, rambunctious group of young men.
Well, I mean, I have been working on a piece for the exhibition. I mean, secretly, of course, but God, we all know that thing's rigged, right? I'm not the only one who went to school with Moya. She has been waving her fancy pants high school diploma over the rest of us for years. It's got flowers. It's a flower motif, okay? It's beautiful. It's gonna win. It would win. She didn't already have her favorites picked out. Like I'm sure she does. Like she did when I asked her to prom. She went with Richard. Yep. No. I'm totally over it, okay? That was like 3 years ago. No, I haven't been calling her since. I mean, God, there are at least 15 other women in this town, okay?
I did say no to Griff when he asked me to prom. I mean, look at him. Perception is reality, as they say. And the way people would perceive him where I want to go would not fare kindly on me. I mean, I know he's actually a good guy at heart, and I may actually have had a crush on him, but I had to say no. It was so hard to do, but when I apply to museums in New York or DC or even London, I can't have a picture of the pseudo biker dude. I don't exactly know what he's going for with that look, but it's not. I don't want to be this shallow. My career demands it, and I love art. So, yes, I'm just going to be shallow to get in the prestigious places.
I found it quite charming. Moya is such a well-accomplished young woman, and she takes care. There's always a sense of bitterness in the young and being in a bumpkin town, but she's still such a gem in our little crown. And it was, felt a little, you know, it reflects well on a person when their children are appreciated by others. And so I was quite moved, and I did recommend that she you know, come by the potter shed and, you know, maybe see another side of my sweet Jeffrey, because he really is quite a deep and artful person. And the urn he made for his father was just covered in little tiny perfect molded forget-me-nots, which were Henry's favorite. And I really hope that maybe that will be the urn that gets chosen for this art fair.
I don't know if you could say my interest re-sparked, because honestly, and I don't know why I'm telling you this, but it never went away. My therapist thinks I probably sabotaged my last interview for at a bigger city at the museum in I don't even want to say where, but it was part of the Smithsonian. But anyway, my therapist thinks I might have subconsciously sabotaged the interview so I could stay here near unfinished business, as they put it. I have not been able to tell my therapist that I still really like Jeffrey Griff, whatever he wants to be called. But I need to maintain my composure and not let that happen again. But yes, that's the spark is still there.
I didn't know my mom told her where the shed was. It wasn't the date, okay? I was in there working on my piece, and suddenly there's Moya just walking through the door to my man shed, and I was just so shocked to see her in there. Nobody comes in there except for Mom with cookies, because nobody says no to Mom's cookies. But still, I was so shocked to see her there. I dropped my piece I've been working on for the competition, just shattered on the ground. I mean, I had to play it off like it was no big thing because, I mean, pottery, right? But, no, it was good to see her. It was really good to see her. We went for a nice walk around the duck pond. Don't think we've done that in years. So, you know, then we went and showed her my bike, because that's what you do. But now I got to come up with a new piece for the exhibition. Oh boy. I wonder if Mom will let me use Dad's urn.
Swoon. That puts it so mildly. Did I swoon? Oh, the sight of my little Jeffrey holding Moya's hand. Well, I always knew he would find someone special. Henry did not believe me. Henry had a lot of doubts about poor Jeffrey, but I knew. And so it was really, my life could be complete if he could just give me a grandchild before I die. And Moya just seems like such a perfect person to do that with. She's so intelligent. It would really help the genes a little bit. You know, not saying that, you know, there's anything, you know, Henry's side was just always a little dull, but in a really sweet way. Yes, it was, I can't wait.
Yeah, so there was this incident as I was going through all the entries, and I broke one of the entries and it was full of ashes. It was kind of creepy because I just assumed it was like maybe somebody's pet ashes. But then there was a very human looking tooth and like a gold band in there too. And I knew that this had to have been a person. Granted, I have to learn to deal with human remains if I want to do art in a big museum in a big metro area, but this came from my town. I must know this person. But how do I mean, you don't just send a Facebook message saying, sorry, I have somebody's tooth, your deceased person's tooth in gold band. And then that ruins the anonymity. So I'm just going to relabel this work Broken Promises and hope it flies.
Find him? How do you find ashes that have been thrown away? That is impossible. You don't. That's the answer to your question. You don't find them. I'm well, it is just like Henry to get himself lost like this, really. I'm kind of surprised it took so long to happen. I know they didn't throw away the urn. I hope that maybe they kept any larger bits that were remaining. They still haven't told me who did it or how it happened, just that it happened. So I'm going to the museum to see if there's anything left, because I know there are no ashes left.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm thrilled about getting first place and all. I mean, that's the dream, to be recognized as an artist, but also not recognized as an artist. I rolled up with the boys, okay? You know, we were gonna rev our engines in front of the museum, like you do. And there it was, just sitting there on the awards stand. Big old purple ribbon in a dozen pieces. Labeled Broken Promises. Broken promises like my heart. She had to have known. I mean, she had to have known it was mine, right? I mean, yeah, it was anonymous, but I can take a message. Broken promises, my ass. Promised to bring her a plate of Mom's cookies.
I did not know the depth of my emotion. I always tried to stay contained. But when Griff broke up with me, something broke inside. I mean, maybe it was all those expectations after crushing on him for so long with the short time we had together. But he broke up with me, and not only that, he accused me of lying. He insisted I knew that was his entry. I did not. I gave it the win because I felt bad for breaking it, but that was it. So when I heard him and his friends revving up outside the museum, I pulled out the Civil War era shotgun musket thingy, and I threatened them with it. I had no bullets or gunpowder. It wasn't going to work. But a couple of his friends scattered quickly, and yeah, I might have to do a little more. That was cathartic.
Well, it wasn't exactly intentional. I just had, well, okay. So I was bringing some cookies to Moya. I had seen that dear Jeffrey's vase, although in multiple pieces, with little bits of my Henry still kind of floating about around it. Well, she had awarded him a purple ribbon. That's very kind of her and very sweet. And Henry will now, well, what's left of him will be at the museum forever commemorated. And that is all I really wanted. And I wanted to thank her. So I baked her a dozen of my famous cookies, and you know no one can say no to my cookies, and Henry always really enjoyed them, and I think it was one of the last things he happened to enjoy in this world, and maybe I can give that final delicious joy to Moya, I thought. And so I brought them to her, and she happened to be working on some sort of restoration of some kind, and I happened to put down my cookies and just kind of brush across her table, and I happened to spill a large container of hydraulic acid. It just kind of flew into the air and then across a bunch of pieces she was trying to restore. I felt horrible, so I left her the cookies and I ran out yelling. I'm not sure why I did that. I was probably just very much taken in the moment. So the hydraulic acid was not my retaliation, it was my clumsiness.
I can't believe she would stoop so low as to shoot my mother with an antique musket. I mean, come on. I take punches to the face. I take chains to the shins. I may have played chicken and lost with a few bites, but nobody disrespects my mother with an antique musket. I think we're all just lucky that the gunpowder was a couple hundred years old as well, and mostly it was just like throwing a lead ball, but she is a frail old lady, and that left a bruise.
So, my sweet little Jeffrey put me in a home. I don't blame him. I wish he would visit me a little more often, though. The musket, although it didn't break any skin, it gave me some internal bleeding, and I lost one of my kidneys. So I'm on, weekly dialysis at this point in my life. They don't think that's ever going to change. But there's always a silver lining. The care here is thorough. Henry's in the museum forever, where he belonged in a museum, and my little Jeffrey is, doing whatever he does with his biker friends and making pottery, I hope. And I got my dosage wrong in those damn cookies, and Moya survived, so good for her. We all have a little silver lining in our lives.
Well, I mean, I had to put my mom in a home. I mean, clearly she was in failing health. I mean, my God, that was her cookie making arm. I mean, God, what was left in life? It was hard to do, but I thought it was the right thing. I figured I'd come and visit her a lot, but then Moya went and told all the guys about my pottery and showed them the pottery shed. And, well, God damn it, they laughed me clean out of town. I can't go back there. I can't go visit my mom. I can't be seen back there being, oh, Griff, the pottery guy, or God, they called me Jeffrey. They called me Jeffrey. Can't go back.
I managed to survive an attempted poisoning. I mean, could you believe somebody would stoop that low? That's underhanded. At least the shooting of the musket was direct. None of this passive aggressive stuff. But I still lost Jeffrey. And the board of trustees for the museum sent me off. They said it was a good thing, that I was going to a bigger city. It would be my dream to work in a big city museum. They sent me to Detroit. I did not know Detroit had a sister city with little podunk town us thing going. And it's not even the museum you heard of in Detroit, the Institute of Arts. It's just, yes, it's a bigger city, but man. And now I can't even find Henry. His mom doesn't know where he is. The city doesn't know where he is. They just laugh at that. Henry and Jeffrey and Audrey, it's just, I wanted them to be my family, and I failed miserably at that.
Hey, thanks everyone for watching Confessional. We are the Reservoir Frogs. Today you saw Amy Zajac, Adam Bouts, and Heather Jo Rader. And I'm Andy Christian. Please join us again from the Digital Hub. Same time show, blah, 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 all that stuff.